Welcome to the Redefine Podcast.
Okay, happy podcast day. Happy podcast day to you. Welcome to the show if you're brand new. And of course, if you are an existing listener, welcome back. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, real quick, housekeeping, administrative stuff before we get into it. I have this idea. So I've had this idea for a while now. And I just haven't pulled the trigger on it yet. Given the success of last week's episode on health and wellness and mindsets and our belief systems around health, I want to create a dedicated playlist just for health and sharing with you the things that I've learned over the years, the things that I've incorporated into my own life over the years that have helped me improve my health and really maintain a high level of health. I have, one of my biggest goals, practices, one of the main things that I've worked on in my life is breaking the cycle of illness and disease in my family. Growing up, observed my relatives gradually just deteriorate in their health, and as a result just felt worse and worse, at least physically, as they got older. And I knew that was something that I did not want for myself. And again, that led me on a road to really just continuing to seek out things that were going to help me not only improve my health, but maintain a high level of health so that I can enjoy myself, right? So that I can live well and feel better and feel well, feel good, at least physically, in the time that I have here on this planet, because it's limited, right? And so why not work towards feeling good, while we're here? And I think most people feel the same way, or at least believe the same thing. It's just that maybe you don't have access to the information, or there's no guide, or there's nobody helping you. And so that I want to do that with this playlist, right? I think everybody, at the very least in the back of their mind, thinks about working on being healthier. And so I'm going to put this playlist together. It's going to be called Ronnie's Health Corner. Here's the thing. It's only going to be on YouTube, unfortunately. And it's only going to be on YouTube because it's just the workload. It's what I can handle. To do a video version and then a podcast version, it's a lot of work. And so until I have my own staff to help me with all the stuff, it's just going to have to be what it's going to have to be. So if you're interested in learning about the things that have really helped me maintain a high level of health and well-being, go find us on our YouTube channel. It's the Redefine podcast on YouTube. It's at Redefine. Anyways, I'll leave the link in the show notes of this episode. I mean, if you're watching this video, you'll already know where we are. But it is a playlist that's going to be called Ronnie's Health Corner, dedicated specifically to all the things that I've done and learned over the years regarding maintaining my health and well-being. I think it'll start next week. I'll try to get it up and running next week, but just be on the lookout for that. Again, if you're interested, I'll leave the link in the show notes of this episode. Okay. So the main topic for today, now that we're through January, this first episode in February, we're in the thick of things. We're in the grind. We're moving full steam ahead, working towards our goals and our visions for 2025. Right now is between February and March is the time when things can start getting a little tiresome, right? We start to lose that momentum as far as like the excitement in the new goals, and we're getting into kind of the routine. And sometimes routine, especially when you're not quite seeing results, because honestly 3 months is not enough to see substantial results. I mean, if we're just looking at health specifically, that's why so many people quit the gym in February, or at least they stop showing up, right? And then they have the contract for the rest of the year. Majority of people stop showing up at the gym by mid-Feb to March, and it's because it's tiresome, right? It hasn't become a habit yet. It hasn't been it hasn't become lifestyle or identity yet. And add to that the fact that you're not seeing substantial results. So that can throw people way off. And so I want to share with you some perspectives that will hopefully do that, but also perspectives that will help you take the leap in the first place, take that first step into doing something that may not be certain, right? Because honestly, when we do anything, there's no guarantee you're going to get results, but you have to have that faith, you have to have that trust, you have to have that almost that surrender in knowing that you're working towards something that you want, and one way or another, no matter how, you'll get it. right? Even though you can't predict it, even though it's not guaranteed, I think this perspective and this mindset will help you take that step and take that leap. I was inspired I'm inspired to talk about this because I watched a documentary last night about Hope Solo. Now, if you don't know who Hope Solo is, she's an incredible footballer, soccer player, goalkeeper, legendary, one of the best goalkeepers in the history of the sport. And this documentary, I was watching it, and I guess this is true about all documentaries when they talk about specific individuals and reflecting back on their lives. As I was watching it, I realized, okay, so like now that there's been some time, that has gone by, removed from all the stuff that they were covering in the specific documentary, we have perspective, right? We have perspective that we may not have had in the moment, especially her going through it. It's about her life. I know that now Hope has perspective, as she reflects back on the events that the documentary was covering. And so I'm just going to read you my notes here and we'll kind of jump off from there. Hope Solo documentary. Time gives things perspective that you don't necessarily get or have in the moment. So there has to be a level of trust in what you're doing, in the choices that you're making and have made. If not, then you'll never move forward, right? You'll never move towards the life you want for yourself. Parentheses, doubt. Trust in the now and then look back with perspective in order to move forward even more intelligently, right? Even more intelligently. I really love this idea that, we have no idea. We don't know with 100% certainty what our actions and what our choices, what the outcomes of those things are going to be. But we have to trust and we have to surrender to the fact that, okay, I made my choice, and I'm going to stick to it because I believe and I have faith that it will, at the very least, lead me in the direction towards the thing that I'm trying to achieve. It may not lead to it directly or right away, but at least I have, I will surrender to the fact that I've made the best choice that I can make, and I'm taking the best choice, the best action that I can take right now, that will get me there. And then of course the looking back, then with perspective, having the distance of time to give you perspective is one of those things that you should do on a regular, like at least every quarter. Go back and take stock on the last 3 months and see if there's anything that you can change or tweak and improve, so that you can maybe improve the decisions and the actions moving forward, right? It's a pretty simple practice, but again, it takes time. It takes that long-term thinking in order for it to work. Because in the moment, again, we have no idea. We can't know with certainty how the outcomes that are gonna result from the actions that we're taking. And I think what really happens even before we take the first action, because of this. All this in play, because of all this uncertainty and not knowing, I think people don't take those first steps in the first place, right? People don't take the risks in going after their goals in the first place because they feel like, well, I don't know how this is going to turn out. Why even do it? It's too much risk, and it scares people into taking chances, and that's where the surrender and the trust really comes in. You just have to trust that you cannot. Nobody can. Even the most confident of us, even the most accomplished of us, we cannot predict what the outcomes will be with 100% certainty. We just trust that our actions and the things that we're doing right now are going to lead us there. Do things go sideways? Absolutely. In the case of Hope, there were some things that went sideways for her through in her career. But deep down, she knew what she wanted, and so she just kind of trusted the universe and trusted her gut and surrendered to that. And in the end, it led her to helping her team win the World Cup, win the gold medal, et cetera, and all the accolades, and going down in history as one of the best, if not the best, goalkeeper in the history of the sport. So you have to have a high level of trust and a long term thinking, in terms of, if you want to achieve the things that you want to achieve, right? If you want to, if you want to fulfill, the visions and the goals that you've set for yourself. Otherwise, it's going to be, you're going to be relying on decisions that were made for you by systems or whatever, right? Systems of employment, systems of government, and things that people have done before. You'll never create the life for you. You'll just be recycling, a life and experiences, that were already done, right? Like that other people had. And so, if you want to live for yourself, you got to really have faith. You have to surrender and trust the process and trust the decisions that you've made. And in the perspective part, in the ability to look back, even if things go sideways, you can look back and you can really examine and improve, so that you can tweak your decisions and your actions moving forward. Hopefully that helps. Right? Hopefully it helps you go ahead and take that risk and that first step into doing the things that you want to do, and going after your dreams, but then also in reassessing and looking back on your goals, and hopefully tweaking the things that you're doing, to move you even closer and towards the directions of fulfillment, and achievement, right? All right, so that's going to be it. Hopefully that makes sense. Again, hopefully that makes sense. I don't know if I was super clear, on that, but long-term thinking is one thing that I really want you to think about, and surrender and trust. All right, so that's going to do it. Before I'm just beating a dead horse at this point, but yeah, we'll catch you next week with a fresh new one. Again, look out for Ronnie's Health Corner, on our YouTube. It's at Redefine Podcast on YouTube. But until then, yeah, be well, be safe. We'll see you in the next episode.